It was a Tuesday, October 12, 1998. The sun rose over Hollow Creek, Oregon, a day like any other. Birds chirped, coffee pots gurgled, but something was wrong. Frank Miller, the town's mail carrier, drove his usual route toward Hollow Creek Elementary, but when he arrived, he slammed on his brakes. The school was gone. Not closed, not destroyed, simply vanished. In its place, an empty, overgrown field as if untouched for decades. No rubble, no debris, no sign a school had ever stood there. Frank checked his surroundings, Mrs. Gable's house, the familiar roses. This was Oak Street. The space where the school should have been was just a void. Frank stepped out, heart pounding, into a silence so deep it felt unnatural. The laughter, the swings, the bell, gone, only quiet. He called the sheriff. "Sheriff, it's Frank. You need to get down to the elementary school." The sheriff's reply, "Frank, what elementary school? We don't have a school on Oak Street." That call was the first official record of the anomaly. Sheriff Brody arrived and saw the same thing, an empty field. Town maps, county records, all showed undeveloped parkland. No mention of Hollow Creek Elementary. It was as if the school had been erased from history itself. For everyone in Hollow Creek, the world had simply corrected itself overnight. Everyone, that is, except for one small boy. His name was Aiden Carter, 9 years old. That morning his mother tried to wake him for school, but Aiden was already dressed, backpack ready. "I'm going to be late," he insisted. "It's Tuesday. I have my spelling test with Mrs. Davison." His mother smiled. "Honey, you don't have school today. You go to Northwood now." Aiden stared, confused. Northwood? He'd never been there. His school was at the end of his street. He ran to his window. The red brick building was gone. Only the field remained. He tried to explain to his parents, his teacher, his friends, the monkey bars. They dismissed it as a dream, but Aiden knew. He was the only one who remembered. The town psychologist, Dr. Miles, listened as Aiden described the school in vivid detail. Classmates, rooms, even the fire alarm incident. Dr. Miles noted, "The boy's conviction is absolute. He speaks with the frustration of someone gaslighted by the world." To everyone else, Aiden was a troubled kid inventing a fantasy. But to Aiden, the world had gone insane. He was the sole witness to a crime so perfect, it had erased itself from existence. The investigation hit a wall. No crime scene, no missing persons, because no one was missing. The census showed all children accounted for enrolled elsewhere. Hollow Creek Elementary simply didn't exist. Sheriff Brody, unsettled by Aiden's certainty, brought him to the station. "Draw your school," he said. Aiden drew a detailed blueprint. Principal's office, library, the cracked basketball court, the metallic water fountain. Brody compared it to every record. Nothing matched. No permits, no blueprints, no tax records. The town's history had been rewritten, as if a cosmic editor deleted a chapter, but Aiden's drawing was too specific. Above the entrance, a small, swirly blue glass window. Brody pinned the drawing to his office corkboard, a lone piece of evidence for a crime that never happened. Months passed. Aiden's story became local folklore, but Sheriff Brody couldn't let it go. He dug into the town's forgotten history, searching the dusty basement archive. There he found a plain, sealed box, no label, no date. Inside 3 yearbooks from Hollow Creek Elementary, years 96, 97, 98. Brody opened the 98 edition. Class photos, Aiden Carter grinning, Mrs. Davison, Emily, Mark. Every name Aiden mentioned was there. The first page, a photo of the school's entrance with the distinctive blue glass window. Just like Aiden's drawing. Physical proof, but impossible. These yearbooks contradicted every official record. Relics from a timeline that had been erased. The mystery was no longer about a boy's memory, it was about a town's stolen past. With the yearbooks as proof, Sheriff Brody reopened his investigation. Most staff had vanished from records, except one, Arthur Penwright, the janitor. Brody found Arthur, now elderly and haunted. At first, Arthur was reluctant, but the yearbook broke his silence. He remembered the school, and the strangeness. "That place, it wasn't right," Arthur whispered. "The building felt old. Sometimes you'd hear things. Whispers, footsteps in locked rooms. The kids called it the murmuring school." He described shifting hallways, doors that changed, cold spots that never warmed. Room 17, he said, was always cold. Chalk dust would sometimes form words. Gone. Outside. Teachers complained of headaches, of feeling watched, of a low hum. Once Arthur replaced a window in room 17 and for a moment saw not the playground but stars, deep space, silent and cold. He never spoke of it again, but never forgot the feeling that the school itself was watching. The investigation expanded. Sheriff Brody reached out to neighboring counties. He found a pattern. Children in 3 towns all within 100 miles began having the same recurring dream. They dreamt of a red brick school, a playground, Mrs. Davison, Mark, and a cold classroom, room 17. These children, who'd never met, were dreaming Aiden's memories. It was as if the school's psychic footprint had scattered across the region. Then, impossible objects surfaced, a locket with Aiden's picture, a red rubber ball labeled "Property of H.C. Elementary." These were fragments of a displaced reality bleeding through. The disappearance wasn't just a vanishing, it was a rupture, psychic shockwaves, metaphysical debris, fracturing space, time, and memory. Years later, a teenage Aiden Carter returned to Hollow Creek, drawn to the empty field. The town was unchanged, but he was not. He brought a camcorder, determined to document the nothingness. The field was wild, overgrown, silent, but the silence felt full. He filmed, narrating his memories. This is where the front steps were, over here, the bike rack. He felt phantom architecture, a cold spot where the doors had been, the ghostly impression of a wall. He heard a low hum, just as Arthur described. At the spot where room 17 would have been, the air was colder, the hum louder. He pointed the camera at the empty space. This was the room. The camera glitched. Static, warped audio, the hum escalating. For a single frame, the screen flickered. A dark room, a tall, thin shape. Then the camera died. The tape was corrupted. White noise, screeching static. But Aiden knew what he'd felt. The school wasn't gone. It was still there in another dimension, pressed against our own. The field was a scar, a thin place where the veil between worlds had worn away, leaving a cold, humming echo. The mystery of Hollow Creek Elementary remains unsolved. No official file, no open case, just a story, whispered like a modern folktale. The yearbooks and Aiden's drawings sit in a locked evidence box, anomalies that defy the record. Aiden never spoke publicly again. The dreamers forgot. Theories abound. A thin place, a government experiment, a gateway, or something stranger. The story is a chilling reminder of how fragile reality is. We trust our memories, our maps, our history. But Hollow Creek suggests history can be rewritten. A place can be plucked from existence and the world will simply forget. The next time you pass an empty lot, ask yourself, are you sure nothing was ever there? Maybe we're all living in a world with missing pieces. The most terrifying part? We'd never even know what we've lost. The question isn't what happened to the school, the question is, what's next?